Descent of the Demon God. By Hanjo Wiolia. Chapter 151. Hayden Hotel. Part 1. Reading others' heavenly energy. Or seeing their fate. It was never beneficial. Those who strayed on the path of good would still meet an unhappy future. Puck. Whack. The Lord grabbed his head, but not a single drop of blood flowed out. The forehead that was supposed to have been pierced seemed fine. "What are you doing?" Chen Yuan asked, looking at him. The Lord was trembling in fear. Was that my future? Out of caution, he had looked into his own fate. He saw that the moment he used the white robe that his ancestors had passed on to him, he died without having time to save himself. Is this man an actual monster? Seeing even further into the future was just as shocking as when he looked into Cho Yeshin's. The moment that he died, Elder Jiang and Elder Song rushed for Chen Yuan, but he effortlessly managed to kill both of them using a sword full of eerie energy. Then, he saw ghosts coming out of their bodies. The Lord then realized the fact that attempting to stop the fox and the man would bring him the worst outcome, the destruction of Unjaram. Drip. Beads of cold sweat ran down his forehead and cheek. His body was feeling cold. He remembered the advice his father gave him. "Father, why do we turn our backs on the world when we learn this? To read the flow is to entangle ourselves with the end." It might be hard to understand now, but the deeper you learn our family's technique, the more you'll understand what I'm saying. Reading the heavenly energy and fate meant to know in advance what wouldn't be good. This instilled more discipline in a person, and allowed the Lord to understand the reason why his ancestors didn't enter the outside world. Because it was meaningless. And it didn't make sense. Every time he read fate, it hurt him. He kept telling himself to not read the flow of fate, but he did, and each time it filled him with bitterness. Sigh. The Lord groaned, sighed, and bowed his head to Chen Yuan. "You are right. This all stemmed from my fears and foolishness to save my face. I apologize." Chen Yuan's eyes shone at it. He felt a subtle feeling that the bowing man was scheming something, but suddenly heard him apologize. "Shoo." The Lord raised his hand and part of the curtain opened. "Can you send the golden gumiho out?" At that, Chen Yuan looked at the fox. "What are you looking at?" "No, I won't go." She tried to stick to him, but he picked her up by the tail and threw her out. "No. Don't hold my tail." "Ah." He could hear her screaming, but the moment she went past the curtain, he could hear nothing. "What do you want to talk about?" At Chen Yuan's question, the Lord took off his robe and showed what he was wearing. There were gold letters on the white robe. Without knowing what they meant, Chen Yuan knew it wasn't good for him. However, the man took it off and handed it to Chen Yuan. I heard that you are strong. However, the golden gumiho you are about to take with you is a yokai that wants destruction. Please take this with you and be prepared for anything she might do." "This is?" "It is a robe which has the good energy of our clan instilled in it. If you are accustomed to dealing with energy, you will be able to use it." The Lord changed the fate he saw. He knew it was impossible to stop both the fox and this man. So he decided to do something better than dying. "This might be useless," said Chen Yuan, but he didn't refuse it. Even if not for him, he could give it to Hu Bong or someone else to be ready to use whenever the fox went out of control. And when Chen Yuan put it in the shadow, the Lord removed the curtain that blocked the sound. "Ugh. I hate you." The moment the curtain vanished, the fox bit Chen Yuan's ankle, but rather than actually biting, it seemed like it was only acting to bite. Looking at that, Chen Yuan sneered. "If you are fine, can I ask for a small favor?" "What do you mean?" "Even though this all happened because of me, it would be dangerous if the heavenly killing star gained eternal life. So? You seem to have an idea of what he is and are interested in him, so if you ever meet him, please make sure he doesn't come here. A cautious request. In fact, it almost sounded like a deal. To that, Chen Youwen responded. If he blocks my way, he will pay the price. Chen Youwen was sure that he would meet this man because he had connections with MS Group. If that ever happened, Chen Youwen decided that he would kill him. The Lord didn't have to request it. Right. A monster is a perfect opponent for a monster. Chen Youwen's answer gave him a creepy feeling, but he thought this was good. Then I guess this old man's worries have been relieved. Elder Arkansas. Yes, Lord. Ark Young approached him. Did you say that Mr. Chen is your teacher? I reserved this undeserved honor from him. There were only 5 people in the entire Murim world who were heavenly masters. And Ark Young thought that it was lucky that he was the disciple of Chen Youwen, who seemed to have a connection with Ark Wei. Stay beside the man and learn well. Ah. Lord, thank you. Ark Young's face brightened. In fact, before Chen Youwen left, he was waiting to ask for permission to leave his home and go with his teacher. However, as he was a member of Unjerim, he couldn't just move as he wished and let Chen Youwen be his teacher. However, now that the permission was given, he could leave. Mr. Chen. I heard that Cho Yushin had some connections with an unidentified group. And as I, a lord who doesn't know any martial arts, will be sending the elders to help. The Lord was changing his fate. He regretted not being strong enough, but thanks to the future he saw, he was able to continue the Unjerim and the legacy of his ancestors. DRRR. A small vibration. You arms are shaking, Chen Ma. The fox tilted its head. Chen Youwen pulled something out of his coat pocket. An invitation card with an MS lettering in blue. Not knowing when it would come, Chen Youwen carried it with him at all times. I am glad that this didn't burn during the body reconstruction. Everything on his body had burned, but thanks to its special material composition, it was still fine. The date, time, and place were written on the back of the card, and there was a button to accept it. In 3 days? The next event would be held 3 days later, at 7 p.m. in the Hayden Hotel in Shanghai. Where did I hear this? Chen Youwen had heard of this hotel, because he knew that Chen Wukyung had used the place for trading. Is this a coincidence? Chen Youwen ordered Nano to check the place without accepting it right away. If it was waiting for a reply, then the signal must be active. Tracking the signal. DRRR. Not long after, augmented reality opened. The position was marked in the area of China. And in it, Hayden Hotel, Shanghai? The signal was coming from there. It seemed like they were sending the invitation from the hotel and not their base. We need to go there. In the end, he had a clue about the auction site. Chen Youwen looked at the LED screen and pressed the button. Return Becky to me, MS. 3 days later. Shanghai City. Originally, it was just a fishing village. However, Shanghai grew slowly into a financial center, accepting the cultures of every nation within, and was one of the most renowned places. Even with the gates opening, Shanghai continued to be a great city. There was Hong Kong as well, which had the most foreigners. People arrived at the Shanghai City West Underground high-speed train station. They were the 2 secretaries, and by Mac Hean. Do you always go back and forth like this? What? At I'm So High's words, Yu So-hwa shot her a glance. I'm So High changed her attitude right away. I'm just asking. After being brought in from Black Athena, her life had changed. She now had to look at Yu So-hwa every day. Sigh. By Mac Hean just sighed as he looked at the women constantly bickering. Fortunately, he was happy that Shakina wasn't here. He couldn't fathom a situation where all 3 women would be together. He heard a voice calling to him. Yo Makian. Teacher. It was Hubong. Then, he saw Chen Yuan and Ark Young. When Bai Makian was puzzled at the new face, Hubong answered with a smile. Lord's disciple. Disciple? Huh? A disciple? Bai Makian was startled. Not just anyone's, but Chen Yuan's? It was impossible to not feel envy when this new man was going to be the disciple of the great leader of the Sky Demon Order. I am Ark Young. It is embarrassing, but I am being guided by teacher. Ark Young greeted them. Both the women were a bit shocked at his way of speaking. Ready? Chen Yuan asked them. Yu Sohua placed the coat she had prepared for Chen Yuan on his shoulders and said, The car is ready out. Take your hand off. Yu Sohua was puzzled at it. She didn't know where this came from. At that moment, Chen Yuan pulled something out, a cute baby fox with golden fur. Yu Sohua, who was putting the coat on, loved it. Oh my! Im Sohai too watched it. Vice Chairman, what is this? When did you bring such a cute key? Bite. Ack. As she tried to stroke the fox bit Im Sohai's finger. And it was not just a painful bite, but one that drew blood. Where do you think you are putting your hand? Huh? When the fox spoke, both women wouldn't hide their shock. To those who didn't know she was a yokai, the fox cub's ability to speak human language was enough to shock them. Hubong warned them. Even if it looks like that, I recommend you to not touch it. What are you saying? This thing bit me. Im Sohai was angry at Hubong, so he asked why she was getting pissed at him. Swish. The fox moved from his hands and walked onto Chen Yuan's shoulder. And warned both women. Chen Ma is mine. Don't touch me carelessly. The way she wiggled her 7 tails was cute, but it wasn't so cute for Im Sohai, who got her finger bitten. Be Vice Chairman, she what is it? Don't mind it. As Hubong said, don't touch it. Chen Yuan wasn't the kind to explain things. Hear that? Hear that? The fox moved from the right shoulder to the left and left to right. Only later, through Ark Young, did they learn that the fox was a great yokai, the golden-haired 9-tailed fox. In the sedan waiting outside, they moved to the Hayden Hotel. On the way, Chen Yuan looked at the information prepared. The hotel was a 5-star hotel famous for its designation as a black market. It was an old hotel, over 100 years old. Politicians, famous journalists, as well as foreign investors often use it. Quite an unexpected place. Choosing a hotel that was quite open to many people was strange. Maybe they aimed to stay under the darkness of the lamp. The hotel was quite a long distance away, and they arrived about an hour and a half later. As is the case with most hotel arrivals, a valet in red opened the door. Chen Yuan, who got out, looked around. Numerous strong energy sources could be felt. From the yellow-haired punks to a lot more. Hubong said it. Undoubtedly, there were a lot of foreigners here. Teacher. Those people aren't ordinary ones. Ark Young, standing next to Chen Yuan, pointed to a few. Their nationality was hard to tell, but they seemed quite strong and had a unique energy. Right. They must be foreign talented people or warriors of their place. Bai Makian asked. Foreign talented people? I heard that there are people with special martial arts or skills or talents in other nations like ours. And I heard that they try everything to save their own nations. It was impossible for just one place to have martial arts, as other places should have their own way of martial arts when it came to fighting. Considering the warriors of India he had met, Chen Yuan knew that strong people existed in other nations too. Shall we head in? They still had 2 hours more to spare. Chen Yuan wanted to check in and then look around. After passing through the revolving door, a large lobby emerged into view. However, strange words appeared.
この野郎。この方が誰か知っているのか。
The characters were weird, causing by Hayden to frown. Seems to be Japanese. Japanese? Hubong didn't know the myriad of languages in this world. At that, Hayden frowned and said, "A nation to the east." At that, Hubong clicked his tongue like he understood it. Ah. Those ones. Such a nuisance wherever they went. Even in Chen Yuan's times, there were frequent incidents where pirates from Japan attacked the villages on shore. This was why Chinese people hated the Japanese. Of course, not just that, as there were lots of reasons why the two nations didn't like each other. In an instant, the Japanese language patch was added to Chen Yuan's mind, allowing him to pick up what the Japanese at the desk were saying. Do you know who this man is? This is Kenji-san, the vice boss of Odagam, who inherited the samurai lineage in the Kansai region. The man shouted while pointing to a middle-aged man with pointed eyes, a gray kimono, a blade, and sunglasses. In the hotel, an employee wearing a white bow tie spoke in firm Japanese. Sorry. You won't be able to check in without an invitation card. Huh. The man seemed frustrated at this mess. At that, Kenji reached out, trying to stop him, and said, "The invitation was stolen on the ship, so what do you want me to do?" Sorry. The attitude of the hotel staff was still adamant. Stroking his chin while glaring at the hotel staff, the one named Kenji said, "I just need to have an invitation?" Yes. In response to that, Kenji looked at the tall man with long hair and black kimono next to him. Did you hear that, Tanaka? Yes. I will take care of it. With an answer, the one called Tanaka looked around and looked at Chen Yuan and his companions who were walking to the desk. Seeing the sword on Hubong's waist, Tanaka smiled and gestured something which made a group of 6 men in suits follow him. Chapter 152. Hayden Hotel. Part 2. The man named Tanaka and 6 other men in suits stood in the way, naturally attracting all the attention of people in the lobby. Huh? Why are these bastards blocking our path? Hubong asked with an annoyed expression. Tanaka, who stood in the way, spoke in Chinese, despite the subtle hints of a Japanese accent. Did you come here with an invitation? What are you talking about? Looking at the sword on Hubong's waist, Tanaka asked, "Are you a samurai?" Samurai was a word meaning warrior. Hubong responded to Tanaka with a harsh tone. Move it. Give me the invitation. What? If not, then. As Tanaka gestured, the men in black suits began to move, taking poses for normal karate but concentrating a certain energy around their hands. It was difficult to tell if it was internal energy, but they definitely dealt with a special energy. You will regret this. It meant that the invitation would be taken by force. The golden fox just yawned as it looked at the 6 men and Tanaka's smiling expression. Yawn. Interestingly, no one in the lobby wanted to get involved. Instead, they would rather. Shoo. Tanaka held out his hand. I'll let you make the first move. The atmosphere became weird. How would this situation turn out? Seeing Hubong, one of Chen Yuan's party, wield a sword, everyone assumed that they would begin fighting. Annoying. Chen Yuan ignored that and tried to walk ahead to the desk.
この野郎.
This man. Tanaka's expression hardened at Chen Yuan's actions and tried to pull out the blade on his waist. Thud. Quack. Tanaka's knees bent and hit the floor. Flustered, he tried to stand up, but he couldn't budge under the tremendous energy. What the hell is this? While Tanaka barely managed to lift his head, He looked at the woman who was looking down at him while pressing down her palms. She was Yusowa, the infamous gravity witch. You arrogant bitch. HIA. 6 men in black suits ran towards her, but Yusowa just reached out her other hand and lowered it. Thud. 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 Quack. Ack. How. They too fell on the floor. Because many powerful people appeared after her within the Sky Demon Order, she didn't get to show off her skills often, but she was still one of the only 3 SS-class keepers. Yusowa asked Chen Yoan in a polite manner, "Can I deal with him? Vice Chairman?" "Just in moderation." "Sure." Yusowa lowered her palm further, causing the bodies to penetrate into the marble floor. SHHHH. Seeing this occurrence, many people in the lobby spoke in surprise. "That woman, isn't she the Gravity Witch?" "Gravity Witch, Yusowa." "What? The SS class keeper?" Among the people with abilities, she was the top. Seeing how the Japanese people went against her, the observers thought that the men were done. However, someone came shooting at Yusowa. Shoo! He was Suzushi, the right hand of Kenji. He was a samurai who ranked in the top 3 of the Otagumi, and, in deciding that Tanaka and the others were done for, moved to save his comrades. The speed at which he moved was quite quick. However, weak. Ack? Suzushi's body floated to the ceiling in a tornado gust. Sohai was wriggling her fingers as she clicked her tongue. TCH. Suzushi held onto the ceiling to make sure he didn't move further. He tried to kick the ceiling and move to Sohai, but weak. The wind created a tremendous pressure, impelling things to fly his way, and people shouted again. Sohai the Red Wind. People called her Red Wind because she always had red lipsticks and red clothes on. There are only 3 people at the SS class keeper level, and 2 of them were here. 2 SS class keepers? What the hell is this? Gatekeepers? Only a few people knew that they quit as keepers to become the secretaries of Chen Yoan. All they knew was that they had quit as keepers. Phew, I can't let her have the spotlight. The human mind is very intriguing. She had no motivation to work for Chen Yoan, but she didn't want to fall behind Yusowa. What are they? Kenji couldn't hide his shock. The warriors that he brought with himself were the best of Japan, but even they couldn't go against these people. Where did he find such monsters? Shoo! Kenji's face went stiff at the cold blade which touched his neck. In front of him was a man with red hair, Hubong. You. Are you the boss? Kenji, who couldn't speak Chinese, just nodded, knowing that any more actions, and his neck would be cut. Final warning. Stop messing around and get out, or you'll regret it. What? You see him? Hubong asked by showing him Chen Yoan. He is my lord. You should be grateful that I am one here with the blade. If it was him, you would have lost your arm or even your jaw. Recently, Chen Yoan had been ripping up more jaws than arms. A man could live with a missing arm, but could not with a missing jaw. Creepy. Kenji felt goosebumps rise on his body and nodded. It was impossible to win over these people. Then go back to your island. At that, Kenji shouted to his men. Withdraw. With that, he tried to move away fast to hide his face. And both the secretaries called back their abilities to let the other men run off too. Pretty good. The golden-haired Gumiho on Chen Yoan's shoulder thought. She had seen many people over the years, so she knew that Chen Yoan's secretaries weren't normal. Well, kids, but good. Right? Chun Ma? Clap. Clap. The fox licked Chen Yoan's neck with its tongue, to which he pushed the bridge of her nose. Pack. Ah. Disgusting. You are being too much. she screamed and went into his hands. To try and act cute, but nothing worked on him. Kenji, who was running away, kept his head down, causing him to run into someone at the entrance. Huh? Suddenly, he lowered his head and saw something, the clutch bag he cherished and in which he had placed the invitation card. Since it was a clutch bag made in France, he could never not recognize it, as it was the only one of its kind in the world. You were the one. Kenji was convinced that the person had his bag, which was either lost or stolen. Kenji grabbed it and tried to use his blade. Papak. At that moment, his body plummeted to the floor. Shocking members of his drew their swords, but Papak. In the blink of an eye, 12 people collapsed. The eyes of the people in the lobby went towards the scene. At the entrance was a middle-aged man with a mustache and sunglasses, with a dark hood over his head. He seemed so relaxed that it was hard to tell whether he was the cause of the uproar. But people began to call out his name. Oh my! Kahaku! Kahaku! Hearing that, Chunyoan looked at the middle-aged man. He could feel great energy coming from him. No one else in the lobby was as strong as him. Teacher. He is really strong. Arkyung said with a startled look. If he, a supreme master, was saying it, then Kahaku had to be strong. Bai Mak-hien, who knew about him, said. Vice Chairman. That person is Kahaku of Speed. Speed? He is the best warrior in Japan. The best? It wasn't like Bai Mak-hien knew everything about foreign affairs, but he still made sure to keep track of the names that circulated often. And since Japan was known to have more talented people, he made sure to know about them. Kahaku of Speed was said to be at the pinnacle of God Speed, and to be the best in the Kanto region. That one looks strong. The Lord can take him down instantly. Hee. Hubong said. As long as a warrior was fighting against Chunyoan, he would always feel sympathy for them. Kahaku went past the Odagumi members and entered the lobby. He turned to Hubong and Arkyung, and he raised his sunglasses with 2 fingers to get a good look at the strong men. He is looking at you, Lord. Not interested. Of course, unlike them, Chunyoan lost interest. It was weird to him that these people were coming here for an auction. What kind of auction is this? He was skeptical, but he would find out when it was time. Chunyoan went to the desk, took out his invitation card, and handed it over. How many people are staying? 6. Confirming that, the hotel staff asked him to sign documents and handed them key cards. There were a total of 2 cards, divided into rooms for men and women. He hadn't even thought about staying at the hotel, but was actually being given a room. He turned away when the desk staff called for him. Wait a minute, customer. The staff went to the back of the desk, pulling out a cage for dogs and cats. The staff pointed to the fox on his arms and said, Hotel rules, sir. The pets need to be kept in cages. The fox glared, but no one even looked at it. The great yokai was being treated as a domesticated pet. The inside of the hotel room on the 15th floor was gorgeous. There wasn't a single thing that wasn't luxurious in it, from antique furniture to leopard carpets to a minibar. Not to mention, the huge 100-inch TV. Wow! This cannot be compared to anything I have seen. Hubong looked around in admiration, which was shown for every place he visited. Shoo! Unlike Hubong, Bai Mak-hien, upon entry, took out a device from his bag and searched the room. Mak-hien, what are you doing? I am checking to see if there are any cameras or wiretapping devices here. He knew what kind of group the MS group was from Chunyoan, so he was checking in advance since they seemed like a shady group of people. He handed this job to the secretaries, who began checking the room. At that moment, Chunyoan looked at the door. Belatedly, Hu Bong and Ark Young looked at it and frowned. Bang! Bang! Someone kept banging on the door. When he looked at Bai Makian and nodded, Bai Makian went to open it. However, he ended up flying across the other side of the room. Thud. Blood gushed out of his mouth as he barely managed to stand. He received a blow to the chest and suffered internal injuries instantly as two men walked through the door. The person at the forefront was the one who attacked, a middle-aged man with yellow hair and exotic appearance.
Я наконец вижу вас, ребята.
He came in saying something harshly, while no one else could understand it. Chun Yo-won could. I'm finally able to meet you guys. When he realized that the ice-cold staff went to Russian, Chun Yo-won asked Nano to feed the language. The language recognition let Chun Yo-won figure out that this man was Russian. As if looking at the enemy, the Russian man glared at Chun Yo-won and the others and shouted, "You are the group of murderers who killed Prime Minister Aganov and our other politicians." Chun Yo-won frowned. This man seemed to be talking about the incident that occurred 27 years ago. At that time, Chun Woo-jin was the lord and was accused of committing the slaughter of everyone at a diplomatic meeting, which included the President of China and the Prime Minister of Russia. It was recently revealed that the indictment was wrong. But this man's reaction meant that he was ignorant. What is this bastard saying? Hu Bong began to get angry on the behalf of Bai Makian. The man behind the Russian opened his mouth.
Подождите секунду, точка.
Stop. At this, the Russian turned back with an anguished face as the person behind him stepped ahead. A woman in her late 20s with glasses and curly hair in a neat suit appeared as she bowed and apologized. Sorry. I didn't expect Merson to be so agitated about the past. Merson? Bai Makian looked at the Russian with an expressionless face, to which Chun Yo-won asked. Makian, is this someone you know? That man, Merson Aganov, is a warrior and member of the Russian Federation. Merson Aganov, a cousin of Aganov, was the last prime minister of the Russian Federation and one of the best warriors in Russia. He was known to be a monster unmatched in close combat and sambo, a Russian martial art. He shed a lot of blood in the name of revenge as he searched for the members of Sky Demon Order. I thought they disappeared and returned back to their land. He didn't expect to meet the man here. Along with the Muram Association, it was difficult for the cult to form because Merson kept hunting down members. What good would talking with this disgusting bastard do? Merson asked in an enraged voice, to which the woman said.
Поскольку переговоры еще не закончились, пожалуйста, подождите.
Wait until everything is decided.
Чего вы ждете? Я убью немедленно.
Wait for what? I will kill them right away.
Ждите шанса. Пожалуйста, подождите, точка.
I will give you the chance, so wait. At her words, Merson stepped back. However, he showed a gesture of sliding his thumb by the neck. The woman smiled and spoke. Sorry. I felt like bringing him in as a guard. There are very few talented people these days, so please understand. At that moment, Chun Yo-won moved to Merson. Surprised by the approach that happened in the blink of an eye, Merson tried to hit back. Pack. What? Crack. Quack. Chun Yo-won grabbed the wrist of Merson, who was unfolding sambo, and broke it. It was unusual for Merson, a master in sambo, but it didn't end there. Chun Yo-won then grabbed his head. Grab! The woman screamed. What are you doing? Chun Yo-won spoke in a dry voice. What were you thinking, bringing in this piece of shit? Huh? Push. Qual. As soon as he said that, Chun Yo-won began to push his head down. Merson ended up breaking his own neck as his head reached the torso, causing his spine to protrude out as he fell. And no. The woman couldn't hide her shock. Mersin was one of the 3 top warriors in Russia. At that level, she thought no one could touch her or the man, but now he had become a chunk of meat in seconds. To her, who knew nothing, Chun Yo-won said, "A chance to kill? What a funny wench you are." Her face turned pale. She never fathomed that anyone in the room could understand the conversation they had in Russian. Chapter 153. Hayden Hotel. Part 3. Indeed, as expected from Chun Ma. By Mak Hien exclaimed inwards. Mersin was so absurdly put down and killed like he was weak. He, along with many other sects, had gone after the Sky Demon orders. Clans that were scattered and tried to kill them, but he had now been defeated. Without a fight. The curly-haired woman, who seemed to be Russian, spoke in shock. Wait. I really didn't mean. Puck. Quack. Chun Yo-won grabbed her by the back of her neck, threw her into the room, and then closed the door. Bang! She rolled on the floor and looked at Chun Yo-won in fear. He is more dangerous than I expected. The information she had said that he was one of the 5 great warriors of China, so she thought that Mersin, rated one of the top 3 in Russia, would be able to handle him. Chun Yo-won walked into the room and sat on the sofa as he said, "Tell me." Huh? Why did you come here? At Chun Yo-won's words, she became restless. The pressure that she could die any moment made her unable to open her mouth. If you don't open your mouth. When Chun Yo-won raised his hand, the woman spoke in a hurry. I am here to negotiate. Negotiate? Yes. Hu Bong clicked his tongue at her words. These days, negotiation seems to start with force. So bloody. There was nothing to be said. At first, she should have exerted more control over Mersin, but chose to allow the man to alone try and corner the other party into accepting her terms. Did MS send you? At Chun Yo-won's question, she waved her hand and said, no. Then? He thought that she was sent by the MS group, but Chun Yo-won didn't show off any expression. If not, then who was this woman? She answered him promptly. I am Tuan from the East Asia Union. East Asia Union? He looked at Bai Mak Hien, who shook his head, meaning that he knew nothing about this. Doesn't seem like an official organization. The name was the East Asia Union, but there was a high probability of it being a private organization. She even said her name, but it wasn't like her name was ever mentioned in China. As a result of analyzing her way of pronunciation, she is presumed to be Mongolian. Nano spoke in his head. As expected, she wasn't from China. As she had brought in Russian warriors, it was plausible to believe that she was actually from the East Asia Union. And what does that group want? That. Because there was no one to save her, she couldn't just speak out confidently, which made Chun Yo-won believe that turning her into a ghost would be more effective. It was then. Pick. The 100-inch TV screen turned on, but no one in the room had pressed anything. The screen whirred to life, and the speakers too, as a video began playing. Kick. A person wearing a black mask, showing only his eyes, appeared on the white screen. The masked man bowed his head. It is an honor to meet the vice-chairman of the Yongchun Group, the most famous group in recent times. My name is I, the head of Sector 9 of MS Group. The voice identified himself as I, using an altered voice. Measures were taken to make sure they couldn't be identified. Since it wasn't known when the video was recorded and being played, Bai Mak Hien approached the TV dubiously. We apologize in advance for greeting you with a recorded video. Showing a recorded video meant they were trying to avoid being tracked, at which Chun Yo-won snorted. Huh. It seemed like the MS group learned new tricks to avoid being figured out. As if they were afraid of being pursued. The fact that this video is being played means, as expected, the vice chairman has received this invitation from one of our guests. they noticed that. By Mak Hien said it to Chen Yowon. This was something they were already guessing about. They didn't think that they'd allow just anyone with an invitation to come in. I've heard from some sector heads that we've had a bad mix-up lately, and I apologize again. The masked man bowed again and got up. We are trying to rectify what happened. Please accept our small token of sincerity. A bell sounded from outside the room. Shortly after, a knock on the door. As by Mak Hien flinched, because he was attacked the last time the door was answered, Hu Bong decided to go now. Eh? It was a hotel staff. Hu Bong tried reading his energy, and the man turned out to be an ordinary human. What? A guest has asked me to bring this to room 1504 in the morning. The staff handed it over and left. Hu Bong, who was holding this bag, brought it to Chen Yowon with a puzzled look. The password is 492,390. The masked man said, and when the number was put in, the bag opened. But the moment it was opened, Bai Mak Hien was shocked. Wow! In the bag were dozens of diamonds. With this number of diamonds, the monetary value was astronomical. Insane! Bai Mak Hien was speechless. He didn't know what was happening. The masked man continued to speak. I understand that you are in need of money because of the recent merger. We hope this helps. Bai Mak Hien frowned at it. The merger was being done as silently as possible. Of course, he knew the experts on the financial side would have noticed it, but these people seemed to be paying close attention to the Sky Demon order. Of course, I don't think that the vice-chairman's anger can be solved with just this, but I hope that it at least helps in restoring our relationship. You seem to have used a lot of your brain. Chen Yowon clicked his tongue. These people didn't know why he was looking for them. It is an honor to know you will be attending the auction hosted by us. We hope you have a great time. The masked man kept continuing to speak, as if he was trying his best to improve their relationship. At that, a CG photo was displayed on the top right corner. The photo was... Lord, that's... It was a bottle with the blood of the flame Qilin. I'll give you the gist of our offer. I am sure that you would be aware and would like to know if you would like to do business with us. There was something this man still wanted, as he kept showing the bottle that looked identical to the one at Hu Bong's site. We are willing to buy this for 1,000 gold. Or, we are open to exchanging it with anything physical you want. Now that you have this bottle in your hand, I am sure you know what it is, and its side effects as well. Spirit beast blood was difficult to absorb. And its side effect was death if the person couldn't handle it. We have succeeded in eliminating the side effects with our technology, so if you would like to do business with us, we can refine it and hand it back to you. Please consider it. Without side effects? Did they figure out a way to take in the blood? Still, it meant nothing to Chen Yowon. Even without their skills, he could help others also absorb the blood. If you want to make a deal, please present the VIP invitation to the driver at 7 p.m. I hope we have a nice meeting. With that, the video ended. VIP invitation? Driver? He wasn't sure what it was, when Bai Mak Hien found something in the bag. This was inside. It was a card along with diamonds. Unlike the normal card, this one was in diamond. And the VIP was engraved in the center. Ah! The eyes of Tuan of East Asia Union shone at the card, as the task she was given was to get that invitation. After receiving information that Chen Yowon might get the VIP invitation, she came to negotiate. You seem interested in this. Yes. Can you guess what my answer will be? At his question, Tuan bit her lip. It was dangerous to say anything without her men. What does the East Asian Union want? Sorry, Tuan. It was a subtle sound, but Chen Yowon heard it. When he looked into her ear, he noticed a tiny wireless earphone. Tuan was shocked at the message. Tang. At that moment, something pierced into the hotel room's window. Chick. There was a sound of something moving. Tuan turned to see a very long bullet suspended in midair. What is this? Weak. The spinning bullet was sucked into someone's hand. It was Chen Yuan. He looked at the direction of the bullet. Where the hole was from, it was from a high-rise building 400 meters away. So they're there? Chen Yuan flicked the bullet with his finger. Fat. The ponytail sniper watching the hotel room couldn't believe his eyes. Is he looking at me? From 400 meters away? It was then. Pack. Quack. Something pierced his shoulder. His eyes trembled at it. A sniper bullet? He didn't see any sniper rifles around. The only thing he saw was someone snap the finger. And no. It was absurd. That man controlled a bullet and shot it with a snap. Quack, damn it. Either way, the mission failed. He hurriedly put the sniper into his bag and was ready to get away. He is running away. Hu Bong, catch him. Yes, Lord. Crack. Hu Bong broke through the window and flew out. In less than 3 minutes, the sniper was dangling in his hand. Sai-kun. Tuan recognized him. She didn't think that a sniper that far away could be caught and retrieved, but the condition of the man, Sai-kun, was just as strange. Ah? Lord. This man seems weird, Poison? Being caught, the man was ready to die. Ah. Tuan shook her head. This measure was to prevent leaking information to them. Chen Yuan placed his hand on Sai-kun's head. What is he doing? Tuan was puzzled when a gloomy blue light flashed from his palm. And then soon, the skin of her ally changed to white. Shoo! And something creeped up. Kayak! Tuan screamed in fright. A ghost with Sai-kun's form appeared in front of her, and Chen Yuan then touched the ghost. PSSS. The head trembled and everything he thought before he died moved into Chen Yuan. The man, Sai-kun, was talking in English. Will the negotiation go through? I wish for our success this time. If you miss the timing, we will miss their tracks once again. We need to reclaim the stolen goods. Sigh. But wouldn't it be better to send a Muchai instead of Merson? Merson loses his mind when it comes to demonic cult. A Muchai is a secret power. But... Stop. I know Tuan is your friend, but this job is important. In the event that the negotiation fails, Merson's experience as a great warrior of Sambo is perfect for killing the opponent. Things will turn into a mess if the god of killing, Amuchai, steps ahead. At the word of Amuchai, fear and awe could be felt in Sai-kun's emotional state. Alright. Not long after, he noticed the problem and reported. Merson seems to have been hit. Kill Tuan. Huh? If the Yongchen has any relations with MS, we will be revealed. We need to stop that. He could feel the Sai-kun's agony. Like Tuan, he was also Mongolian. It seemed painful for him to kill someone of the same ethnicity, but he had no choice. Sorry. Tuan. His memories after that were of the shooting and being captured. It was unfortunate that the earphone was broken in the process of escaping. This much only? Chen Yuan put his hand away and then held out the wrist guard, which sucked in the ghost. What did you do? Tuan stepped back with trembling hands. She felt terrified by this man who could handle ghosts. In response, Chen Yuan said, We have the same goal. What? From what he understood, these people hated MS too, and were trying to reclaim stolen goods. Is your goal to retake what the MS group has stolen? How did you know about that? She couldn't figure it out, Chen Yuan said. I also have something to take back from them. Ah. At those words, Tuan's eyes fluttered. She remembered the video talking about a not-so-good relationship between the Yongchun and MS groups. Moreover, this man here seemed to share the same purpose as EAU. Cautiously, she tried to persuade him. Enemy of an enemy is an ally. If you, the vice chairman, have the same purpose as us, how about joining hands for both of our benefits? Grab. Quack. Before she could finish her words, Chen Yuan grabbed her neck and spoke in a cold voice. Would an ally kill you if necessary? Quack, qua, please. Want to live? At his question, Tuan nodded her head. Then tell me who is involved in the EAU and where they are hiding. She was terrified of revealing the information. She wasn't sure, but it looked like this man could kill them all. Normally, she would have sacrificed herself to keep it a secret, but now, for the first time, she was actually scared of death. I will tell you everything.